Yes.
Oh, come on, Charlie Brown. Oh, come on, Charlie Brown.
Oh, hello.
Hey, how's it going, my man?
Hello, Antonio. It's going great. It's going great. It was so good catching up right before this. How are you?
I am good, man. It's Friday, on the cusp of a long holiday weekend. Things are good, man. But so good to talk to such a good friend.
It's great to see you. It's great to talk with you. I specifically wore this shirt as you are my first, actually, my second. I suppose Tom Reardon, but he was my practice run.
Yes.
But wearing some U of I gear right now for you. My first U of I advertising alum. So had to do that. Had to do that for a fellow U of I advertising alum. It feels so good to see you and do this with you. Really appreciate you being part of the OhHello community. I know who I'm speaking with. Who are you? Tell our audience.
Yes, man. Well, before we get to me, I also came with some slight head tilts to past life, but I have this next to my bed every night and use
I
this to clean
love
my
that.
glasses. So great days working with Tube and you and then other folks there. So I'll always cherish those precious times that we had.
Antonio McFadden, it is so good to have you with us today. Thank you for showing the eyeglass cleaner of Tube Mogul. That is how you and I met so long ago. Why don't you tell us a little bit just about yourself? Who are you?
Yeah, for sure, man. So I'm Antonio McFadden, a Chicago native, obsessed with Chicago, born and raised, spent most of my life there. It really made me who I am today. But I currently live in Los Angeles, which has become a second home, and also, cherish this city in the different ways that I've had to grow being in a city, being in a new city. So definitely love being in both and spending my time in both. But LA is home for now. Went to U of I. Originally majored in architecture.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Was an architecture major for a few years, and made the hard pivot after a few years over to advertising. Just had more of an interest in advertising. We opened up a new school of advertising at U of I around that time, so that was the path that I took then, and here I am now. Years and years later with 12 plus year career in advertising at this point, which is crazy to say, and it feels like it went by really fast, but it's been absolutely amazing.
You're a dad, you're a husband, you're a
Yes.
Googler. Tell us a little bit more about what you do at Google.
Yeah, for sure. So I've been at Google for about 7 years now. Originally, I was brought in as a programmatic seller, so selling DV360 to
Yep.
clients and agencies. But now I have been on our go-to-market team as a product strategy lead for pretty much all things video in DV360. So CTV is definitely a huge part of that role. Various YouTube formats, our third-party publisher integrations, etc. So it's really about how all the things work together in DV3, which is my role now. So it's been super interesting. I think having a background in sales on the agency side, on the publisher side, definitely helped to help me in this role right now.
Tell us a little bit more about those that have had an impact on your career. Tell us a little bit just from a mentorship. Love to hear how you got to where you are and walk us through the path, Mr. McFadden.
Yeah, for sure, man. I am super passionate about number one, being a mentor, but I think that came from having such great mentors in my life throughout my entire career. I'll try to be super quick, but there are four people that I have to call out that I've all had conversations with over the years and recently as to why they are my mentors.
I
The
love
first
this.
person that comes to mind is Simhar Amdamichael. She was actually worked with her on the agency side at Amnet, and she was our director at the time. And she really taught me the importance of presence. She was always someone that commanded a room, and she's an African American woman too. So knowing that we're underrepresented in tech, it's important to
Yep.
have that presence. So for me to see that early on in my career really changed me in a way that's super beneficial now. Like you have to have presence, you have to be seen, be heard. And she did it all while being fabulous. Still one of the greatest dressers I've ever met in my life. So that too was was a big part of that. But Simhar was kind of my first mentor. I still talk to her to this day. She's family. Second, I have to bring up Paul Embry, who was my director when I first came over to Google. He was someone that I always looked at as like an energy guy, really inspiring. You hear him talk and you just feel moved by it. You feel like you'll run through a brick wall for that guy. So that was always something I try to bring to conversations is energy, inspiration.
Which you do.
Thank you, my man. Thank you. Thank you. The third would be Jane Hong, who was my first manager at Google, brought me over. She always pushed me to do more. Like if the goal was 10, she would push me to do 12. And then as I got close to 12, she was like, you can probably do 14. 14, it's like, well, you're almost at 15. You might as well just go to 15. And it's like, that was always the approach of you can do way more than whatever you think is possible. So I still use that now to push myself. And then rounding us out, Mike Diamond, someone that I've worked with really closely at Google, but was never a manager, but was just someone that I've always had like a monthly sync with, and someone that we always bounced ideas off each other, and someone that really helped ground me and really helped me to look at the bigger picture of what's important in life. Like work is important for sure, but and performance reviews are important for sure, but you better make sure you're being a great husband and a great dad and a great friend and a great son, all those things that really matter most. So perspective has been a good one.
Perspective is so important. I love that you just finished with that with Mike Diamond. When I think of Mike Diamond, I think of Mike D. I think of the Beastie Boys. So apologies to your friend Mike Diamond. Actually, I mean it. It's an endearing, heartfelt, like go Mike Diamond. But what you just said specifically about the life components, about who you are as a person outside of work, makes you who you are at work. So
Yes.
that's such valuable guidance just to have. And at any point within your career, I also what the other three mentors taught you about, from confidence to perseverance to working harder and pushing yourself to being fashionable to being just who you are, creating your own identity. You've absolutely done all of those components. So it's nice as someone who's known you and considers you a friend for the past decade to see how those four mentors have helped carve and shaped you into who you are as a husband, a dad, a son, and someone that a lot of people look up to within our community. So it's badass.
Well, thank you, my man. I appreciate it.
Of course. What would you tell your younger self?
Yeah, that's a good one. I would say I would tell my younger self to enjoy the journey. I feel like when I was younger, I was so focused on accomplishments, whether that was working at certain places or promotions or certain financial goals or various things. And the journey is the longer part, right? And that's the piece you better make sure you enjoy, because once you reach that goal or hit that milestone, then it's on to the next immediately. There's not really much time to live in that, but the journey is really the part that you better make sure you enjoy. So that's definitely what I would tell my younger self. Because that's definitely how I live now. Of like, I just want to enjoy every day. My goal is to have fun, have more fun. Like that's what life is really about.
Smile, be happy. I
Yeah,
mean, tell
exactly.
us more. Enjoying the journey, being ready for that trek is so important. I know you, but for those that don't know you as well, what are some of your life mottos? What's something some components that you live by? I think a few of those may have been some nuggets that we're giving the audience about just being
Yeah,
happy and enjoying the moment. But tell us a bit.
yeah, for sure. I would say there's really three main kind of things that make me who I am. I would say the first is really around being a planner, right? And I think that goes into the journey piece of having a intentional and meticulous plan to what you want to do is super important, right? And I think this is this concept of you can't know where you want to go unless you know where you are and know who you are, right? And know how you want to change. So I've always been someone that's been really self-aware and really conscious of like my brand and who I am. And so that first piece is really just being a planner. The second piece is just being consistent. I feel like that's such an important part of life in general. Just uh, consistency, right? That's like sustained greatness is really what I look at. I know everyone always talks about Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game, but to me, like he had an entire season where he averaged 50 points and 25 rebounds. Like that was way more impressive than 100
Totally.
points. So consistency is something that I'm super focused on. And then finally, relationships. I think relationships are absolutely everything. I've always tried to treat people with kindness and lead with kindness and empathy, because that's what life and humanity is all about. It's just relationships. So those three things kind of make me who I am today and really drive me.
I got to that's amazing. Thank you for sharing all three. I got to give a shout out to your beautiful and intelligent wife, because the last part about empathy and kindness, she exudes both of those, having had the privilege of working with her for a number of years previously and seeing her grow into who she is as a mom as well. And obviously goes without saying into her career, but empathy and kindness is so important. So surround yourself with good people. That you absolutely do that.
Yes,
Tell us a little bit more about your biggest career achievement, and then a charity that's near and dear to your heart that you're going to be able to donate to within the OhHello community.
for sure. I'll say honestly, my biggest career achievement outside of my core role in being a product strategy lead, I'm also the LA chapter lead of the Black Googler Network. I was a lead in Chicago as well.
Yes, you were.
And really just giving back to that community. I actually won an award in 2018. I actually have it right here, so I'll put it up.
It's
But
trophy season.
you know it. I won a gold award back in 2018 for my work around DEI. Right, and it really was number one being a lead for the Black Googler Network, but number two, I started this organization called BEST for Blacks Excelling in Sales and Technology, with a few others that work at Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Amazon, Adobe, etc. And it
Yep.
was really a collective of Black employee resource groups at major tech companies, and we were throwing events together, really giving back to the community. And so it was really using the resources I had at Google to start my own thing with others and then to give back. So it was really the culmination of a bunch of things I love in tech, plus DEI work, plus helping others, all coming together to really, highlight all of these great things. So that would be it. Secondarily, I would say I also ended up getting 6 months pat leave instead of 3 months. So that's probably a very close second, I would say, or even first, really, if you think about it. Those two things stand out.
That's amazing. Amazing. All right. Before we head out, a charity that's near and dear to your heart as a mentor within the OhHello community, where you're going to be able to donate to.
Yes, for sure. For me, it's definitely Black Girls Code. It's one that I've been very involved in. Working at Google for years, but now that I'm a dad of a little Black girl, that
Yep.
really is close to my heart. So that would be the one that I call out, just knowing how important it is to get young girls involved in that early.
You rock. You rock, Antonio. Such a great cause. So good catching up with you. Thank you for being here. Thank you to our OhHello listeners. We'll catch you on the next one. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, so good seeing you, my man.
You too.